Hi, welcome to today's webinar, Approaches to Address Challenges in Vendor Management. My name is Marla Helly, and I will be your trainer for today. So a little bit about me. I have been in clinical research for over 25 years, and in today's webinar, we are going to focus on the following learning objectives. We're going to first identify the key approaches to planning and preparing to outsource to improve our relationships with our vendors. Also identify key components for formal study of vendor performance management. We're going to also look at how we provide adequate oversight of SOPs and other practices for the sponsor. And lastly, we're going to employ the end of project analysis or that end of project meeting to pave the way for future improvement in our relationships with the vendors that we use. I have a couple of handouts that I provided you for today's course. Just looking at the transfer of research to a CRO, so we can look at that document in a moment. Also looking at handouts for the FDA CPGM BIMO, so looking from a perspective of an inspection, if that should occur, and just keeping that in mind if you would have an inspection, ensuring that you also have this oversight as a sponsor. And likewise, then looking at the last two documents, the ICH GCP R2 addendum, where it does define sponsor oversight of our CROs, as well as looking at investigator oversight. So just making sure that we have good oversight of the work that we are doing as sponsors when we are hiring our vendor to do the work. And so with that, we'll look at those documents throughout the module. So with this first learning objective, we want to identify key approaches for how we plan and prepare to outsource for CRO vendor management. And it's true. When we think about why we outsource, it's looking at the globalization of drug and also device development. We're going outside the U.S. to conduct our trials. We're going to need support in various geographic areas that we are going to be going into. We as companies may not have that global presence. Also, when we look at resourcing, there could be peak workflows that we are unable as sponsors to have the headcount of individuals within our organization from a cost perspective. And also, too, looking at the complexity of the clinical trials, where we're going to find those subjects. I can think of, say, for example, if we're going to look at rare disease, we may have to go into other countries besides the U.S. And again, we don't have that presence. We also are dealing with a complex, maybe trial design, and so there can be expertise that particular vendors may possess. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a CRO, but it could even be a lab vendor or an imaging vendor that has that expertise to be able to help us analyze looking at specific endpoints, for example. And then there can be expertise when it comes to the type of monitoring. Some of us are moving to a more risk-based or central monitoring, and that is often an area that CROs have that expertise. I'm going to move back here to this particular slide when it comes to our CROs by definition. So looking at what ICH GCP defines as a CRO can be a person or an organization, which can be commercial, academic, or other, that's contracted by the sponsor to perform one or more of the trial-related duties and functions. And it goes on to say that the sponsor can transfer all or any of those trial-related duties to the CRO. but ultimately the responsibility for that quality and integrity of that trial data resides with the sponsor. And so I've highlighted here that the sponsor should implement quality assurance and quality control. And I think that this is very important when a sponsor is looking at hiring the vendor CRO to do the work. It's about the quality of the work that we are seeking as a sponsor. And how are we going to ensure that that vendor that we have hired not only has those quality procedures in place, but also they are acting upon this through their ability for quality assurance, and then also if an issue would arise, how are they addressing any quality issues?